Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're getting into strategic college planning. We're using insights from diversified college planners to see how, well, planning early might actually save you thousands on tuition.
Right. And the core idea here is pretty simple. Starting that college financial strategy much earlier than you might think is, well, it's key.
It really is. And what's, kind of surprising or maybe concerning is how many families seem to miss out on savings just because they start thinking about the money side too late.
Yeah, the common assumption is, oh, we'll deal with that in high school.
Right.
But Diversified College Planners, our source here, makes it really clear that the important time frame actually starts way before that.
Exactly. They point out that a lot of folks don't really dig into college finances until maybe the student's sophomore year of high school.
Which feels like you're planning ahead, right? Sophomore year.
You'd think so. But unfortunately, according to diversified college planners, by that point, you've probably already lost some big chances to, you know, bring down the overall cost.
And this really boils down to something called the prior year rule. It's used for the IFs, the free application for federal student aid, and it impacts your student aid index, or SAI.
Right. The SAI, that's basically the government's estimate of what your family can reasonably chip in for college costs.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the prior year thing. Can you break down that example they gave? It makes it pretty clear.
Yeah, sure. So they said for a student starting college in, let's say, fall 2022, the key tax return used for their financial aid was from 2020.
2 full years before they even set foot on campus.
Precisely. So financial decisions you made back in 2020 directly affected how much aid that student was eligible for 2 years later.
And that's the kicker. If you only start seriously thinking about this stuff during sophomore year, like Diversified College Planner says many people do, then your financial picture from that really important prior year is, well, it's pretty much locked in. Those past numbers are what the aid formulas are going to use.
Right. And this is where, it can get a bit sticky. Diversified College Planners really emphasizes that making certain financial moves after that critical prior year might actually backfire.
Backfire how? Like unintentionally increase costs.
Yeah, exactly. Unintentionally make college more expensive.
Okay, so they give a specific example, right, about selling off investments late in the game. What's the domino effect there?
Okay, yeah. So let's say you sell some investments relatively close to when your kid is starting college. That action can bump up your adjusted gross income, your AGI, for that year.
Got it. Higher income reported.
Right. And a higher AGI often leads to a higher student aid index, that SAI number we mentioned.
Which signals to the colleges and the government that, hey, this family has more resources available to pay.
Exactly. And the direct result of that higher SAI.
Less need-based financial aid. Simple as that.
Yeah. Which means potentially higher tuition bills heading your mailbox, maybe fewer grants, that's the free money you don't pay back, and probably a bigger need to take out student loans.
Definitely a situation you want to try and avoid if possible.
Yeah.
It just makes the whole college funding puzzle harder.
It really does.
Yeah.
And it just highlights how that sophomore year isn't just another year of high school. Financially speaking, it's this huge turning point that affects the bills for all 4 years of college.
Precisely. And that really drives home the contrast our source, Diversified College Planners, makes between starting late and, the real upsides of planning ahead. What are some of those key benefits they talk about with early planning?
Well, they stress that planning early gives you time to use strategies that can legally lower your SAI.
Lowering the number the government thinks you can pay.
Right. Which in turn generally improves your eligibility for financial aid overall. Plus, planning early helps you sort of manage your financial profile so you don't accidentally raise any red flags that could hurt your aid package.
And it sounds like Diversified College Planners actually provides tools and specific help for families trying to do this.
Yeah, they do. They mentioned having proprietary software and giving personalized guidance. The whole focus seems to be on helping families really understand that financial aid timeline and make smart choices before it's too late. It's about being proactive, not just, reacting when the forms are due.
Okay, so let's quickly recap the main advantages of getting started early, based on what they're saying.
Sure. It takes away a lot of the guesswork, definitely lowers the stress level for the whole family.
I can imagine.
And it gives you more control over how you're going to pay for college, which sources you'll use.
Which hopefully means avoiding unnecessary debt.
Absolutely. Avoiding unnecessary debt and ultimately stopping yourself from just plain overpaying for college when you might not have had to.
So the core message from diversified college planners seems crystal clear.
Hmm.
The earlier you start this kind of strategic financial planning.
The more choices you'll have, and the greater your potential for some pretty significant savings down the road.
Makes sense. More time, more options.
Exactly. So here's something to chew on. Knowing that financial aid looks back at your income from 2 years before college starts. When is the absolute earliest you should realistically begin thinking about the money side of sending your kid to college?
Hmm. That's a good question. Thinking about that prior rule.
Yeah, just mull that over. Think about how that rule might already be playing out or soon could be in your own financial life or maybe for people you know. It shifts the timeline quite a bit.